Blog Talk Radio.
Think back to when you started your business. You had a dream. You had boundless passion. You wanted to create something different. There was a problem, and you were going to solve it. Being an independent retailer is rewarding, but challenging, and there's a lot more to it than you ever imagined. Well, Lightspeed is here to help. With 45,000 customers around the world, we've helped countless entrepreneurs nail the business side of retail so they can spend time doing what they're passionate about. Join us for a 6-week speaker series featuring a curated panel of experts that will answer some of retail's toughest questions and give you the edge you need to stay competitive. You have a passion, and we have a passion for technology inspired by you. Visit lightspeedhq.com/speaker-series to learn more.
Blog Talk Radio.
Franchise interviews from Easton, Pennsylvania to Sydney, Australia. You're listening to Franchise Interviews. Franchise Interviews. Welcome to Franchise Interviews. Franchise Interviews has been giving an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship. Listen to interviews with franchisers, franchisees, franchise authors, franchise experts, and attorneys. And now, welcome your host, Marty McDermott, and Franchise Interviews.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to a very special edition of Franchise Interviews, where for over 10 years now, we've been asking the entrepreneurs one-on-one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott. I'm the president of Franchise Interviews, and we have a great show today. We're meeting with John Bennett, Director of Franchising for Sunny Days In-Home Care Franchising. And Sunny Days In-Home Care Franchising grew out of the compassion and values of the husband and wife team, David and Evelyn Ellenwood, who saw a need for better in-home care in their hometown of Pittsburgh. And we're going to talk to John about that in just a moment on Franchise Interviews. So stick around because we have a great show.
The Stone Coat Franchise Opportunity. Are you looking for a unique and lucrative franchise opportunity? If so, take a look at Stone Coat. With a patented process which creates a true stone finish on almost any wall or ceiling, Stone Coat is a true game-changing product in the multi-billion-dollar construction industry. Stone Coat is applied faster, cleaner, and cheaper than conventional quarried stone, which saves both time and money. With advantages in remodel and new construction of both residential and commercial projects, Stone Coat is a true crossover product. The Stone Coat franchise opportunity provides a low startup cost, low operating expenses, comprehensive training, ongoing support, and no royalty payments. For more information on the Stone Coat franchise opportunity, go to www.stonecoatfranchise.com. That's www.stonecoatfranchise.com, or call us at 972-380-2700. That's 972-380-2700.
Franchise Teacher.
Would you like to know how to franchise your concept or grow your franchise business?
Meet the experts at Franchise Teacher.
The goal of Franchise Teacher is to teach, coach, consult, and advise. The team of experts at Franchise Teacher will evaluate your business model and present you with a winning business strategy.
Franchise Teacher will help you decide whether or not your concept works and if it's franchisable. Franchise Teacher is proud to have over 30 years of experience in franchising as both franchisees and franchisors.
Franchise Teacher are developers of over a dozen franchise systems, which include brick and mortar as well as home-based concepts of nearly 3,000 combined franchise locations.
Whether you need to add more units or get more customers, Franchise Teacher can help. We will teach.
Franchise Teacher will help you learn our proven system.
Coach.
Franchise Teacher will help you provide a game plan to succeed.
Consult.
Franchise Teacher will make sure you stay on track.
And advise.
Franchise Teacher will help you learn from our over 30 years of experience in franchising as both franchisees and franchisors. Take advantage of our free, no-obligation phone consultation. Simply go to franchiseteacher.com or call us at 561-385-3032.
That's franchiseteacher.com or call us at 561-385-3032.
Hi, this is Connie McDermott, Administrative Assistant for Franchise Interviews, LLC, and you're listening to Franchise Interviews.
Franchise Interviews. From Easton, Pennsylvania to Sydney, Australia, you're listening to Franchise Interviews. Franchise Interviews.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to a very special edition of Franchise Interviews, where for over 10 years now, we've been asking the Franchpreneurs one-on-one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott. I'm the president of Franchise Interviews, and as we were saying earlier, we have a great show today. We're meeting with John Bennett, the director of franchising for Sunny Days In-Home Care Franchising Opportunity. As Sunny Days In-Home Care grew out of the compassion and values of husband and wife team David and Evelyn Ellenwood, who saw a need for better in-home care in their hometown of Pittsburgh. Hi, John. How you doing? Welcome to the show.
Hey, great. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing fantastic, John. We always like to ask our guests where you're calling from this morning.
I'm calling in from the South Hills of Pittsburgh.
Oh, fantastic. So I could probably kind of guess the weather, John, because we're on the other side of the state. We're in Easton, Pennsylvania. How's the weather there today?
Overcast, which is pretty typical here for the most part.
Okay, same here. I think it's coming this way as well, so that's fantastic. You know, I was really impressed when I was reading the story of Sunny Days In-Home Care, John. Maybe you could talk a little bit about the history of the organization and how it actually got started.
Sure. Back in 2011, David and Evelyn, who are my in-laws, decided to start a business, and they weren't sure what they wanted to do, and they had thought about it for a while. Evelyn had a bookkeeping background, and David had some experience in the home healthcare industry doing marketing, and kind of saw a need where people were just kind of viewed as numbers and not really viewed for who they were as an individual, and thought that he could really make a difference kind of in the marketplace with that, and that's kind of how the idea of Sunny Days came about.
That's fantastic. And, your background is impressive too, John. Maybe you could talk a little bit about that, because I even saw you had a little business experience, didn't you?
Yeah, I started an asphalt maintenance business when I was in high school and continued that through college and through my first few years out of college, because I was a teacher in the summer. And it was definitely a smaller operation than we have here, but it was just a great business experience, just kind of learn, the ins and outs of running a business.
That's fantastic because, you can really apply all of those skills, can't you, John, to, whether it's teaching or, owning your own business. And I imagine, you have empathy also for franchisees as well, don't you?
Oh, yeah, exactly. When you can put yourself in someone else's shoes because you've been there, it really helps a lot.
Absolutely. It's fantastic. Maybe you could talk a little bit about, the services of Sunny Days In-Home Care, because you're certainly more than senior care, aren't you, John?
Yeah, we help a variety of different people. We definitely, senior care is our main focus, but we also help people with physical disabilities, people that are recovering maybe from a surgery and need short-term care. We also work with veterans as well and help them out. And we've actually acquired a local company recently that does a lot of stuff with intellectual disabilities. So we're really excited to kind of get our hands dirty with that and grow that area as well.
Which makes the market or the industry huge, John. Your industry is huge. With senior care alone, the numbers just seem to keep getting bigger and bigger. How big is the industry or industries that you're part of?
Sure. So home health care in general, non-medical and medical both, is expected to be over $350 billion industry here in the U.S. by 2020. So it's continuing to grow.
That's crazy, John. Isn't it like the numbers that seem like as much as was it 10,000 people per day are turning, was it over 65 or something? It's a crazy number, isn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy. And then just to add to that, just with the home care industry, 88% of those people surveyed want to stay in their own home. So, it's just the industry just going to continue to grow.
Yeah, this industry has always been important to me, John. I had my dad passed a couple of years ago. He had Parkinson's, and so we've had experience with in-home care, and it's not particularly in easy business. I mean, the care provider is certainly important or critical to the business, and that's what I got in studying your business models. That you put a lot of thought into your caregivers. Maybe you could talk a little bit about that and what you look for.
Yeah, sure. So that's really the most important thing, because if you think about it, regardless of what we do here kind of at the office, our caregiver is the face of our company out there in the community. So we really try to strive to get somebody, and it kind of sounds cliche, but if we wouldn't hire this person to take care of our own family members, we don't want to hire them for sunny days. And that's just kind of been our rule of thumb, where somebody may have, all the credentials and qualifications, but, whoever's interviewing them, if they just kind of get this vibe that they really don't care about the person they're going to be taking care of, then we don't want to hire them. And that's the care and compassion. I mean, if you're a direct care worker, you're not really in it for the money. It's not that high of a paying job. We wish it was. It's just unfortunately, it's not. You really got to be in it because you're called to it, and you have compassion for that person you're taking care of.
Because it's a stressful, being there. It's a stressful situation, isn't it, John, for the family member, isn't it? Is that you are going to have someone come into your home and take care of your loved one, whether it's your mom, your dad, or a child, or whoever it may be. I mean, it is a very stressful situation, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. I mean, if you just take a second and think about it, if I told you tomorrow, whoever your family member is, hey, I'm going to send in this Joe Smith you've never met before to help take care of you. We'll sit down and do kind of a meet and greet, and then you got 8 hours with them or with the lady, then, it makes you stressed out. So we really try to do a good job of, kind of we always do an initial meet and greet and just kind of reassure the family that, we do have somebody in there that's definitely qualified, and make sure they're comfortable. And if they're not, we have very open channels of communication where they can let us know, and we'll find somebody else to go in there. So it's really important to us that the family's comfortable.
Right. That's fantastic. The majority of our listeners, John, we call them aspiring franchipreneurs. Most of our listeners, they know that they want to get into franchising. What types of characteristics, then, do you look for in your franchisees to know that they're a match for sunny days in home care?
Sure. So we want people that are compassionate. That's probably the biggest characteristic we look for, that someone's willing to do care. And our franchisees, I mean, we've had them go in and caregive a little bit. It's not something we require, but I really think it helps just to give them a full picture of what it's actually like to go into someone else's home and take care of them. And it's different. I've done caregiving for elderly family members, and doing that versus going into someone's home that you don't know that well is just a completely different experience. So compassion is big. And then we really want somebody that's high energy and is just willing to go out there, and there's a lot of marketing involved initially, kind of boots on the ground, going out and, getting referral sources and building your base. And we assist with all that and really help people figure out where the best places are to go to. But, you need to have a lot of energy initially when you start out with it.
Sure, of course, absolutely. Maybe you talk a little bit about the training, John, because you mentioned, the marketing is a big part of the business. What is that like? I mean, once you decide you like them, they like you, I mean, do they typically come out to Pittsburgh then for training? Is that how it works?
Yeah, so we have 5 days of training here in Pittsburgh. We do some online training as well. And then we have 2 days on-site at the franchisee's location. And that's kind of something that's really important to us. I mean, education is always important, but being a former educator myself, that's something I really try to pride ourselves on. That, our training program is second to none. We really feel like we equip people well for kind of every facet of the business.
Right. What I like too, John, is it seems to me that Sunny Days in Home Care, in the beginning phases anyway, is that you do allow your franchisees to start it off as a home-based business, and I guess over time they can incorporate, as the business grows, they can open up their own office. Is that how it works?
Yeah, exactly. Most states allow you to work out of home initially. There are a few that require you, to have an office space, but we really like to keep the overhead down and allow people to work out of their home. David and Evelyn actually worked out of their home for the first year and a half when they started Sunny Days here in Pittsburgh, and I mean, it was just a very small upstairs room that was just a dedicated office space, and it just eventually got to the point where they need to hire an office staff, and that's when they looked at getting an exterior office. But yeah, that's what we want for our franchisees. We want to keep the overhead down and allow them to work out of home, because most of your interactions too, when you're going to clients' homes, we interview caregivers kind of out in the field, at the mall or at a Panera Bread or a Starbucks, places like that. So there's not really any need for someone to come to your home initially.
That's terrific. What is a typical day like for our listeners, John, who, a lot of people know that, obviously this industry is huge. It's growing. It's a big industry. What is a typical day like for a Sunny Days in-home care franchisee, if you could paint a picture?
Sure. So it varies a lot, but kind of a typical day that would kind of include, every aspect of the business is kind of waking up in the morning, and we have an online scheduling system that we look at. So you can look and check the schedule, make sure that your shifts are filled, address any issues in the morning. Maybe a caregiver called you the night before, and that afternoon, something came up. They had to take their kid to the hospital. You have a shift that you have to staff, So you may spend the morning calling around and getting another caregiver to go fill that shift. And then typically, we're always trying to grow, so we always are trying to interview people. We always want to have caregivers ready to go, whether it's getting a new client on board that we need filled or if it's, a call-off. So you may do an interview or two, grab some lunch, that's always obviously important.
Sure.
And then, go out and do some marketing in the field. So maybe stop at 4 or 5 referral sources after lunch, talk to them, maybe drop off some brochures, talk to them and see if they have anybody that know that's going to be, coming out of rehab or, leaving the hospital soon that's going to need home care.
Right.
Talk to them, and really that's important, building those relationships. And, you don't want to go in there with a sales approach. You really want to go in there with how can we help you and how can you help us? Because a lot of people, especially, social workers, they have a massive caseload. So if you can kind of come in and take the burden off of them and they know that somebody is, going to be able to handle this home care, they're happy. And then after that, you may have a client intake later in the afternoon where you go and you meet a new client, sit down with them and their family, and really figure out what their needs are and kind of put a care plan in place for them.
That's fantastic. I've always said, what I love about, your business, John, is that, it gives you a couple of different types of gratification in the sense that you have the opportunity to make a nice amount of money because the market is huge. But I think it even goes beyond that, is helping families, with this type of need. And I'm sure, that's why, David and Evelyn, really created the business as well. As there's that gratification as far as helping families, isn't there?
Oh, definitely. And that's still, we have, 10 different company-owned locations kind of here in Western Pennsylvania now, and we've got a pretty large amount of clients and caregivers. And David and Evelyn actually still go out. One of the guys down the street from them needed home care, and they kind of went out and still, they still go talk to him. David goes and meets with them every week or so, and it's just important for them still to get out in the field and really know these people. It's just something we really try to pride ourselves on.
Yeah, and that's what I got. In watching some interviews, with David, you could see that he is very sincere, and this is why, he got into this business, is because he really felt, he's passionate about it, and he felt that he could certainly satisfy a need or niche in the industry. So you've been doing this for a while now, John. And I was mentioning to you earlier, the majority of our listeners, they're aspiring franchipreneurs. They're looking to buy a franchise. From everything, you've learned about franchising up to this point, what advice would you give to our listeners in their quest to buy a franchise? Because there's so much out there today.
Sure. I would really sit down and figure out what kind of, industry you want to be in. If you want to be in something that's more turnkey, like a restaurant, like a small, maybe like a sub shop, you're not going to make as much money, and you're not going to have really a big impact on the community per se. It's still a great business. Or do you want to do something maybe that's a large restaurant, or maybe it's a service where you're out landscaping, maybe you're really into the outdoors. Or maybe it's something like this where you really have, compassion for people, want to help people. I think just assessing kind of what do you like, what are your interests, and then kind of figuring out what kind of lifestyle do you want to have. I think that's the biggest thing in general with franchising. Franchising can really be a lifestyle change for you and your family for the better.
Sure.
Especially if you select something that you're comfortable with doing. So I think that would just assessing what your needs are and your interests are,
right,
and then what kind of lifestyle you want to have. Are the two big things I would look at.
Yeah, no, I think that's great advice. So obviously you get to spend time with David and Evelyn. You get to see them. If David and Evelyn were here, where do they see Sunny Days in home care? If you could look into a crystal ball, John, like maybe 3 to 5 years down the road, where do you see the organization?
Sure. We'd really like to have a strong presence kind of in the Great Lakes and the Mid-Atlantic region, just expanding through our franchisees. And then really a strong presence as we continue to grow our work with people with intellectual disabilities. And then all of the other care that I had mentioned earlier. We want to be able to be like a full-service shop, where regardless of what's going on, we can provide care for individuals. Just kind of continue to expand that and, have people in place that really are, compassionate. We've had a couple people interested in franchising with us that, we've kind of turned down because, all they talked about was money. And never talked about, caring about wanting to help elderly people or individuals with needs, and that's not what we're about. So we're really going to kind of selectively do that, and just we hope to continue to grow.
That's terrific. What's the best way, John, for our listeners to get more information on becoming a franchisee to Sunny Days in-home care, and also the service itself? Any websites that you'd like them to go to or take a look at?
Sure, yeah. So 2 great sites. So we have sunnydaysfranchise.com, which you can go on and tells you all the information you need to know about our franchise. There's forms on there where you can click and submit, and someone will get out to you right away. There's a number on there that can be called. And then our main site, sunnydaysinhomecare.com, really tells you what our business is about. Shows you the people that we have working for us, shows you just the different achievements that we've earned as a business, and just really kind of what our mission is. So I would say those 2 sites would be definitely a place to go.
And there's been a lot of awards that you've received over the years too, John. I've seen that you guys have been in the Inc. 500. You've been in. You've won an award from Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year. BBB gave you guys a high rating. So there's a lot of them, isn't there?
Yeah, and those are all great for us too. And something else we're really proud of. We actually, one of our caregivers finished. She was one of the top 10 finalists in the state of Pennsylvania this past year for Caregiver of the Year award. So that's something that's not
fantastic.
Really something that praises our business, but that praises more than our business. That's important to us, so that people know that we have quality caregivers going into their homes.
That was Cynthia McDonald, wasn't it, John? I think I remember reading that article. Yes. That's fantastic. I remember reading the article.
She's awesome.
Yeah, I remember reading the article, and it's what prompted me to have you guys on the show too, because I thought that was a great story, wasn't it? Just about her background and how she got into, the business as well. It was really an inspirational story.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, if you guys haven't checked that out, there's a link to that on our website. I encourage you to check that out. It's just really great.
That's terrific. I really enjoyed having you on the show, John, and I'd like to invite you guys back as you continue to grow, because I think you have a great franchise opportunity.
Well, thank you. I've enjoyed my time with you this morning, and look forward to hearing more from you guys.
That's terrific, John. It's great to have you on the show, and we'll be right back with more franchise interviews. Coming up on segment 2, you're going to hear what every franchipreneur needs to know before buying a franchise. We're going to play a clip from our popular Great Quotes in Franchising podcast right here on Franchise Interviews.
Are you one of those special people who are willing to go after your dreams and goals? Are you ready to fulfill that dream of owning your own business with the security of a proven brand? The opportunity to take control of your future and own a Rita's Italian Ice franchise is within your reach.
Rita's is seeking success-oriented individuals who are ready to make a change in their life, and Rita's offers unparalleled training and support to assure your success. And did you know the frozen treat industry is a recession-proof industry, and there are Rita's in 23 states currently with 540 stores open. Rita's Italian Ice has been around for 25 years and is listed as a top-performing franchise by the Wall Street Journal.
Now here's the really good part. Rita's Italian Ice is a unique and amazing taste treat. It's smoother than a snow cone, and it combines ice with real fresh fruit. The real fruit adds dramatically to the taste, and it comes in over 40 flavors. The ice and fruit are mixed on site and made fresh daily, and it is delicious.
You'll want to know more about this exciting and successful franchise opportunity. Go to www.ownaritas.com and get all your questions answered. That's www.ownaritas.com to take control of your dreams and future today. You don't want to wait any longer to be a part of this adventure. www.ownaritas.com.
Franchisers, are you looking to reach aspiring entrepreneurs looking to buy a franchise? Are you looking to reach a highly educated audience on franchising? For over 8 years, Franchise Interviews has been giving an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship through our website, franchiseinterviews.com, where you can hear and read interviews as well as get tips from some of the most successful sources in franchising. Our weekly franchise radio show, where each week you get to hear a new interview with franchisers, franchisees, franchise authors, franchise experts, and attorneys, and our podcast, Great Quotes in Franchising. For more information, go to franchiseinterviews.com or call us at 610-905-2919. That's 610-905-2919.
Hi, this is Connie McDermott, Administrative Assistant for Franchise Interviews, LLC, and you're listening to Franchise Interviews. Today's great quote in franchising is being brought to you by
The Stone Coat Franchise Opportunity. Are you looking for a unique and lucrative franchise opportunity? If so, take a look at Stone Coat. With a patented process which creates a true stone finish on almost any wall or ceiling, Stone Coat is a true game-changing product in the multi-billion-dollar construction industry. Stone Coat is applied faster, cleaner, and cheaper than conventional quarried stone, which saves both time and money. With advantages in remodel and new construction of both residential and commercial projects, Stone Coat is a true crossover product. The Stone Coat franchise opportunity provides a low startup cost, low operating expenses, comprehensive training, ongoing support, and no royalty payments. For more information on the Stone Coat franchise opportunity, go to www.stonecoatfranchise.com. That's www.stonecoatfranchise.com, or call us at 972-380-2700. That's 972-380-2700.
Hi everyone, this is Marty McDermott from Franchise Interviews, and welcome to another edition of Great Quotes in Franchising. For each podcast you get to hear a great quote in franchising. You know, we've been hosting Franchise Interviews many years now, and during that time we've had some incredible quotes on our show. Today you're going to get to hear from Sam Hance, who is the president of Stone Coat. And one of the questions we asked Sam when we had him on the show was, what advice would you give to our listeners in their quest to buy a franchise? And Sam talked about the importance of doing a self-evaluation and asking yourself important questions like, what do you like to do? Because in franchising, experience can be taught. So let's listen to what Sam had to say.
Probably one of the most qualified people to answer the question, studying your background, Sam, is what advice would you give to our listeners? We call them aspiring franchipreneurs. You know, most of them are looking to buy a franchise. But as you know, I mean, there's so much out there today. We find that a lot of them just simply don't know where to begin, and it becomes a bit overwhelming. So what advice would you give to our listeners in their quest to buy a franchise?
Marty, you're touching something that is dear to my heart right now, because this is the part of business that I love, is helping people find their right fit. And that's the primary thing that I tell people. Your starting point is to do a self-evaluation and come up with the things that you like to do. If you are not a hands-on person, don't get into the lawn maintenance business.
Right.
If you like being outside, there's all kinds of businesses to look at outside. If you're more of a analytical bookkeeping type person, there's franchises there. If you have love food, then food offers great opportunities. So that's the first thing I tell people, is really decide what you want to do, what you like to do, not necessarily what you have experience at, because in the franchising world, experience can be taught. So that's the first starting point. Second thing I tell people is figure out your resources and don't overextend. Chamber of Commerce, National Chamber of Commerce, says that the number one reason for business failures in the United States is undercapitalization. So you've got to know your resources and don't overextend it. Talk to the people that are most important to you and get their input. And I always tell people, give your loved ones permission to hurt your feelings if that's what it takes, so they can be brutally honest about what they see in you. Then when you get to the company, research the owners first. Know who the owners are. Go visit them. Make sure that their goals and ambitions align with what you really are looking for. And character is important. It's extremely important. Yeah. And then the second thing you want to research is the industry. Is it a good, stable industry? And instead of some fad that could come and go. And then the third thing is research the franchise model. Most people get that a little out of order, because the first thing they want to do is research the franchise model. And I tell them, no, back up and go look at the owners, and then look at the industry, and then thirdly is look at that. And finally, franchising is not selling. Franchising is finding good fits and good matches for life ambitions between the franchisee and the franchisor. And if anybody is pushing you or pressuring you to purchase a franchise, then you need to run away from that as fast as you can. The people on the other side of the table from the prospective franchisee should be just as anxious to get involved in understanding what both sides are looking for.
Wow, it's a great answer. We've been doing the show 10 years, and I have to say that's one of the best responses we've had in almost 500 shows. So I could tell you've been doing this a long time.
Thank you.
It just included everything. It's just a great response. So what are the plans then, Sam? I mean, I can ask you as the president of the organization. I mean, where do you see Stone Coat maybe like 3 to 5 years down the road?
Well,
if you'd like to hear that whole interview with Sam Hance of Stone Coat, all you have to do is go to franchiseinterviews.com, go to our franchises by category page, and go to our home repair and improvement category. You can hear that whole interview. And Sam had a lot of great advice during that particular show. And finally, we just want to thank everyone for making this podcast such a big success. It's hard to imagine now that we've been doing the show almost 10 years now and approaching 500 shows. So we just want to thank everyone for all their support. And we'll see you again soon with another edition of Great Quotes in Franchising from Franchise Interviews. Take care, everyone.
Franchise Interviews. From Easton, Pennsylvania to Sydney, Australia, you're listening to Franchise Interviews. Franchise Interviews.